You leave the Air Force believing your career ended in failure. 8 years in military security operations, 3 overseas deployments, and 1 classified disciplinary incident nobody officially discusses anymore. Your record says, psychological incompatibility with command structure. What it really means is you questioned an order during a containment operation in northern Alaska after 2 civilians disappeared near a restricted radar installation. You kept asking where the bodies went. Your commanding officer kept telling you to stop asking. 3 weeks later, your clearance disappears. 6 months after discharge, you work private security outside Reno, guarding executives who fear kidnappings more than morality. The pay barely covers rent. Most nights you sit inside an armored SUV watching rich men cheat on their wives through tinted windows while pretending any of it matters. Then the phone rings at 1:17 a.m. No caller ID. You almost ignore it. Are you still capable of following impossible instructions? The voice asks. You recognize him immediately. Colonel Nathan Voss. Former Strategic Containment Command. The man who signed your discharge papers personally. You say nothing. A transport convoy disappeared 90 minutes ago, he continues. The cargo cannot be recovered publicly. That phrasing matters. Not stolen. Not destroyed. Recovered publicly. Why call me? Because the last security director is dead. Silence follows long enough for you to understand this is not recruitment. It is replacement. Then Voss gives you coordinates deep inside the Nevada desert and tells you a helicopter leaves in 3 hours whether you board it or not. You spend the next 2 hours trying to convince yourself not to go. Then you go anyway. The facility officially does not exist beneath anything publicly associated with Area 51. The airbase above ground is only camouflage now. The real infrastructure sits nearly 2,000 feet beneath the desert inside a labyrinth of containment sectors, research vaults, surveillance corridors, weapons platforms, biometric checkpoints, and sealed laboratories disconnected from every acknowledged branch of government. The underground security network controls all of it. And within 6 hours of arriving, you understand why the last director died. His name was Walter Hume. Former intelligence countermeasure specialist. 48 years old. 21 years inside the facility. They find him hanging inside a maintenance shaft with both wrists broken. Suicide, officially. But nobody breaks both wrists before hanging themselves. Especially not security directors. Colonel Voss walks you through the central operations chamber while technicians pretend not to stare at you. Nearly 400 live surveillance feeds move across surrounding walls. Research labs. Isolation chambers. Transit tunnels. Armories. Elevator shafts. Dormitory sectors. Medical wings. Every inch monitored. Every person tracked. Your predecessor lost operational cohesion, Voss says calmly. Too many internal compromises. Compromises involving what? He looks at you for a moment before answering. Unauthorized access. That answer tells you almost nothing. Which means it tells you everything. The underground network operates like a separate nation buried beneath the desert. Nearly 7,000 personnel rotate through the facility annually, though fewer than 800 know the full scale of operations below Level 5 clearance. Scientists, engineers, military detachments, private defense contractors, intelligence analysts, psychological specialists. At first the responsibility feels intoxicating. After years of being discarded, suddenly generals wait for your approval before moving classified cargo between sectors. Scientists lower their voices when you enter rooms. Research chiefs treat you like a threat instead of a failure. Power changes your posture faster than your beliefs. The deeper problem emerges on your 3rd night. A containment alarm activates inside sublevel 9. The entire facility seals automatically. Blast doors close. Transit rails shut down. Emergency lights flood the corridors red. Then one of your operators says the phrase nobody underground ever wants to hear. Visual contact lost. You move immediately. Not because protocol demands it. Because hesitation gets people killed in places like this. The containment sector holds materials you're not fully clear to understand yet. Biological samples. Propulsion fragments. Recovered technology from incidents officially dismissed as weather anomalies for decades. Most personnel never see the actual assets. Security directors do. The corridor outside Chamber 9 smells like burnt circuitry and chemical disinfectant when you arrive. 3 response teams already secure the perimeter. One scientist sits against the wall shaking uncontrollably with blood running from his nose. What happened, you ask? Nobody answers immediately. Then one of the tactical officers hands you a tablet displaying corrupted surveillance footage. The footage lasts only 11 seconds before failing. But 11 seconds is enough. Inside the chamber, something moves across the walls without touching the floor. Not climbing. Not crawling. Moving. The footage distorts violently afterward before cutting black. The chamber now sits empty. No breach damage. No forced exit. Just empty. What exactly escaped, you ask? Nobody answers that either. You make your first critical decision less than 48 hours into the job. You order a full internal lockdown instead of notifying federal oversight. That choice changes your life permanently. Because official oversight means evacuation protocols, external investigations, satellite scrutiny, and congressional exposure risks. The facility survives by controlling information faster than truth spreads. You understand that immediately. So you bury the incident internally. Your teams sweep every sublevel for 36 consecutive hours. Hundreds of personnel trapped underground while your systems track biometric signatures corridor by corridor. Fear spreads fast in isolated facilities. Scientists stop trusting technicians. Military personnel start carrying unauthorized sidearms. 2 researchers attempt to access surface elevators without clearance. You detain both. One starts crying during interrogation. The other keeps asking whether it can mimic voices. That question stays with you. 3 days later, you find the first body. Senior engineer. Male. Mid-50s. Dead inside an electrical maintenance shaft. No visible trauma. But his eyes are burned completely white. The autopsy report disappears before you finish reading it. That is when you begin understanding the true purpose of the underground security network. It is not protecting secrets from the outside world. It is protecting the facility from itself. You begin restructuring operations aggressively after that. Surveillance algorithms upgraded. Internal movement restrictions tightened. Armed response teams doubled. Psychological monitoring expanded across all personnel. Some people resist immediately. Especially Dr. Evelyn Sato, head of Advanced Materials Division. One of the highest cleared scientists underground. You're militarizing research operations, she tells you during a closed-door meeting. I'm preventing collapse. You're building paranoia. No, you say. I inherited paranoia. I'm organizing it. She studies you carefully after that. You learn quickly that every department underground operates its own hidden agenda. Scientists conceal discoveries from military oversight. Intelligence officers run unauthorized experiments through shell divisions. Contractors steal fragments of research data for private defense firms. Everyone lies. The underground network exists because trust already failed long before you arrived. Months pass. Then a year. Your systems grow stronger. More invasive. More absolute. Every staff member now carries biometric trackers linked directly into predictive behavior software. Surveillance drones patrol maintenance corridors continuously. Private conversations trigger keyword alerts automatically. Emotional instability reports flag personnel before incidents occur. You justify every expansion the same way. Containment. Security. Prevention. The dangerous part is how reasonable it sounds while it's happening. The facility becomes quieter under your control. More efficient. People stop questioning orders because questioning orders places them on monitoring lists. Some request transfers. Others disappear into reassignment programs nobody discusses openly. You stop asking where they go. Then the second incident happens. A research team inside Sector 12 activates an object recovered from a crash site near the Pacific 4 years earlier. Official reports classified it as non-terrestrial adaptive material. Unofficially, everyone underground calls it the mirror. Because it reflects more than appearances. You arrive after the activation failure. 4 scientists dead. 1 tactical officer missing his lower jaw. Every reflective surface inside the chamber shattered outward simultaneously. The surviving researcher cannot stop repeating the same sentence. It knew our names. You review the footage personally. You should not. But curiosity becomes unavoidable in places built around forbidden things. The footage shows the object suspended above the containment platform emitting low-frequency pulses before every monitoring system inside the room glitches simultaneously. Then the personnel begin reacting to things not visible on camera. 1 scientist shoots another. A tactical officer starts screaming. Someone tries clawing their own eyes out. Then the recording corrupts completely. You lock Sector 12 permanently afterward. Officially due to radiation instability. Unofficially because you are afraid. Not of the objects. Of the people around them. Fear changes leadership faster than ambition ever does. You begin compartmentalizing the facility harder. Departments isolated from each other. Access permissions narrowed. Armed checkpoints increased between sectors. Information fragmentation becomes policy. Nobody sees the whole picture anymore except you and a handful of senior command personnel. That isolation makes you powerful. It also makes you dangerous. Because eventually the underground network stops functioning like security infrastructure and starts functioning like a private intelligence state buried beneath the desert. You know who is sleeping with who. Who drinks too heavily. Who talks about resignation. Who secretly copies research files. Who is emotionally unstable enough to become a liability. You begin predicting problems before they happen. And once you can predict people, controlling them becomes easier than protecting them. Dr. Sato confronts you again during your 3rd year underground. You're creating a prison, she says. It already was one. At least before, people remembered they were scientists. And now? Now they behave like hostages. You almost argue. But you know she is right. That is the worst part. You authorize the monitoring expansion anyway. Because 2 weeks earlier, one of your analysts intercepted unauthorized transmissions leaving the facility through maintenance satellites. Someone underground is leaking classified material externally. The leak contains references to propulsion systems and biological recovery operations. If released publicly, the political consequences alone could destabilize multiple intelligence agencies permanently. So you begin hunting the source. Quietly. Ruthlessly. You interrogate 83 personnel over 16 days. Financial records. Private messages. Psychological histories. Family vulnerabilities. Everyone breaks eventually if enough pressure is applied strategically. That realization changes something inside you. You stop viewing personnel as people. They become variables. Risk profiles. Potential breaches. The leak eventually traces back to a systems engineer named Aaron Day. 32 years old. No prior incidents. No ideological affiliations. No foreign contacts. He leaked the files because his brother disappeared after working underground 6 years earlier and nobody would tell the family what happened. You sit across from him alone during final questioning. You think people deserve to know what's down here, you ask. I think people deserve the truth. The truth would cause global panic. No, he says quietly. The truth would destroy the people hiding it. You authorize indefinite detention 40 minutes later. You tell yourself it is necessary. You stop sleeping well after that. The years blur together underground. 5 years. Then 7. Surface life stops feeling real. Relationships collapse because you cannot explain where you disappear to for months at a time. Friends stop calling eventually. Your world shrinks into surveillance feeds, containment reports, classified briefings, and biometric threat assessments. The facility evolves under your control. Automated gun systems integrated into corridor ceilings. AI-assisted behavioral prediction models. Facial recognition tied directly into psychological threat scoring. Entire sections of the underground network capable of sealing independently during catastrophic breaches. You build a machine designed to survive fear. Then the machine begins feeding on it. The first sign comes through maintenance surveillance. Personnel standing motionless in corridors for no apparent reason. Small groups gathering silently near restricted sectors. Increased reports of auditory hallucinations. Sleep disturbances spreading across multiple departments simultaneously. At first psychological operations blame stress exposure. Then 3 armed guards execute a research supervisor inside a cafeteria before turning weapons on themselves. No motive. No explanation. Just synchronized violence. Dr. Sato approaches you afterward looking more exhausted than angry now. It's affecting people long-term, she says. Exposure accumulation. The materials. The frequencies. Whatever's down here. You have evidence. I have patterns. Patterns matter underground. Patterns kill people. You initiate the deepest investigation of your career after that. Internal archives. Historical containment records. Black budget experiments stretching back decades. What you uncover terrifies you more than any object locked beneath the desert. The underground network itself was never only designed for security. It was designed for behavioral suppression. Low-frequency signal systems embedded throughout infrastructure. Psychological conditioning experiments hidden beneath emergency protocols. Environmental manipulation programs influencing emotional stability across personnel populations. The facility has been studying human obedience for decades. And your surveillance network helped perfect it. You realize suddenly that many of your decisions over the years may not have been entirely your own. That thought nearly breaks you. Then Colonel Voss returns after almost 2 years away from the facility. Older now. Sicker. But still carrying the same calm authority. You finally found the architecture, he says after you confront him privately. You knew. Of course. You let me build on top of it. We needed someone effective. You manipulated the entire facility. No, Voss says quietly. We contained it. You understand then that the underground network extends far beyond Area 51. Similar systems buried inside intelligence installations, military black sites, research facilities across multiple continents. Layers inside layers. Control structures monitoring the people tasked with controlling other people. How long, you ask? Since 1978. And what exactly are we protecting humanity from? Voss looks at you for a long time before answering. Then every screen inside your office flashes red simultaneously. Containment breach. Multiple sectors. Impossible. Your operators begin shouting overlapping reports immediately. Transit failures. Surveillance outages. Biometric corruption spreading through the system. Then one phrase cuts through the chaos. Internal security override detected. Someone has seized partial control of your network. Not externally. From inside. You move fast because hesitation underground means collapse. Emergency blast doors seal automatically while armed teams deploy across primary corridors. Entire sections of the facility go dark. Surveillance feeds fail one by one. Then your central monitoring system identifies the source of the override. Dr. Evelyn Sato. You find her inside the behavioral systems core beneath sublevel 12, surrounded by shattered servers and armed personnel loyal to her division. You don't understand what this place is becoming, she tells you calmly. I built what was necessary. No, she says. You built obedience. Around you, alarms continue echoing through the underground city buried beneath the desert. 7,000 personnel trapped below ground. Containment systems destabilizing. Weapons platforms activating automatically sector by sector. And for the first time in nearly a decade, the surveillance network no longer belongs entirely to you. Your operators wait for orders through failing communication channels while the deepest facility in America begins tearing itself apart from within. And somewhere beyond the sealed blast doors beneath the desert, something starts moving through the dark again.